Mm. Sorry, it's not the company. I'm just tired.
Same here.
Hey, everybody. It is Thursday, May 20th. This is ANC 5D's Zoning and Development Committee. We're going to have a pretty short meeting tonight, just a few items on the agenda, but figured it's still worth meeting and recording it. That way, anything said here can be, we'll send the meeting link to the ANC commissioners. So on the agenda this evening is, actually, first, let me share my screen and just give a real quick summary of some upcoming BZA cases within 5D. Commissioner, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So some upcoming zoning commission and BZA cases. So we've got 15 zoning commission 1527G. This is for a modification of significance for first and second stage PUDs. They have already presented to the zoning committee and the ANC. The ANC has not yet voted on this, I don't believe. They don't have a hearing date. My recollection was that at least at the April the April ANC meeting, I remember the commissioners, specifically remember Commissioner McCollum basically telling them they need to do much better on providing more affordable housing to increase the affordability of the units. Next coming up, we've got some BZA cases. One is on June 7th. So the ANC, by the way, voted on this. They actually presented, let me go back. This is for a project at the intersection of Montello and Florida Ave. And I don't want to just repeat reading the description here, but they presented at the April zoning committee meeting, and they presented at the May 8th ANC public meeting just last week. And at that meeting, 7 commissioners voted, and 4 opposed, 1 supported, 2 abstained. And as of at least today, I did not yet see a ANC report in the case record. So commissioners might want to, their hearing is on June 7th. So if you guys want to have your report go into the case record, you might want to do that. I will say I noticed in the case record, there is a lot, maybe at least 15 letters in support for this project. Now, all of the letters in support are a form letter that I think the applicant basically went around to nearby businesses and friends and like, please sign this. So they definitely, they're representing their client very well and getting lots of letters in support into the case record. Next, we have BZA case for 1251 Morse, which we will discuss tonight. They have a BZA hearing on June 14th. And just as a reminder, ANC's June public meeting is Monday, June 12th. And I think you guys can expect, if they haven't already, they should be on your agenda, Commissioner Rose, for the June meeting. And we'll get into the details for that. That they're actually the one item on tonight's agenda. And then after that, later in July, there's a BZA case 20853, and that is the 1212 Oak Street Northeast case. That is a case where the developer changed the elevations of all the floors, doors, and the front porch, and now they're looking after the fact for zoning relief. And so I will say the neighbor who used to live next door has been worried to live in their home because he has concerns that his foundation has been undermined. And he's been represented by an architect, and they've been reaching out to the Department of Buildings, and they're not receiving any support. Like, they're not even responding to their concerns. Like, they're saying, can you please?
They approached Councilman Zachary Parker. Have they approached Councilman Parker's staff? So that's the type of thing I would think their staff might do something about.
I don't know. I can reach out to me. I just saw his email today. He sent me an email 2 days ago, the homeowner, just, and they're like saying, hey, these are the technical concerns we have. Can you please tell us, have your inspectors, have the DOB inspectors come by, what are their findings? And it's just, they're not hearing anything. So we just kind of, we rely upon Department of Buildings, to enforce the building code. And this property did actually receive stop work orders. So they're just not getting any resolution, or even if the concerns have been satisfied, there's also zoning concerns as well. So they're just not getting a response. So it'd be nice, nothing has really occurred since their initial hearing. There was a lot of movement on this case back in February and March. And since then, there's been just radio silence.
Did the ANC
anyway,
put in a letter to them about opposing it?
There is an ANC report in opposition to this application.
That's what I'm asking. So it was submitted. Okay.
Yes, and there's I forget how many. Let me click this link here. I know you guys can't see it. Let me just tell you how many. I know there was several neighbors put in.
I remember getting the general sense that most of the neighbors were opposed.
There was many neighbors were opposed. That is a fair statement. Let me see how many. Let me count real quick in the case record here. Were in opposition.
I mean, that's very DOB has not responded because.
Yeah. So I think
I know of at least 3 or 4 building collapses in the city, and they're not pretty. There was that one that happened on Florida Avenue a few years back, right by the Fringe.
Yep. So I think it's fair to say that we do need to reach out to the homeowner to see. We might just need to. Sometimes it's helpful for the city officials to receive an email from an ANC commissioner to say, hey, can you please at least respond to the individual? If they're wrong, I'm not saying the homeowner is right in this instance. I'm just saying, just at least acknowledge their concerns and say yes or no, we agree with them. And if you don't agree with them, these are the technical reasons why we feel it is safe, but they're just not getting a response. And that's not great. Anyways, these are the 3, these are the upcoming cases within 5D. Now let me stop sharing, and I'm going to share a PDF. I'm going to discuss they presented at the April zoning committee meeting the applicant behind BZA case 20906. That was for the project at 1251 Morse. And let me just quickly, they were actually confirmed to be on this month's agenda, but then they reached out to me earlier this week. We're like, hey, just to confirm, we're still going to be available tonight. I didn't see their emails until this morning, and by the time I said, yeah, sure, you're still confirmed, but they didn't. Everyone had already ordered the plans this evening, but they actually didn't make any changes to the design. The one thing they did do is they provided 3D renders. So let me just do some screen shares here. First, I'll show you the original plans. This is what they shared at the April meeting. This is still the only plans in the that are in the case exhibit 6. So it's a 3-story building, and they are doing a. It's a little confusing here. I don't know why this looks like this.
That's the building next to it.
Is it the rear? Yeah.
That's the white bit is the building that's its next door neighbor.
I'm going to share actually Firefox first, just because I think it'll be a little easier to provide context for. That's not the. Let me do that again. Okay, I'll try that again. Okay, you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So it's this greenhouse here. Now I will say, please disregard these numbers that Google is putting. This is not 1251 Morse is the green building. These are just this is just the overlay of addresses, and they're not correct. So 1251 is not this building. This is the subject building for this case. And what the applicant is doing, and let me just, this is a street view. Hopefully that correctly switched over. This is the house here. Now these houses actually are on very wide lots. I think there's like an 8-foot side yard. So what their applicant is proposing on doing is filling in the side yard. And this house, now this is an old overhead view. The applicant behind here a few years back did like a 10-foot addition. And in this case, they want to go 15 feet beyond that 10-foot addition. And they want to bump out to a side yard. So those are the plans. And they also want to go up a floor. So, the neighbors are concerned, and this, let me go, let me stop sharing, go back to sharing. It's not easier when I can just share my whole screen without having to. These were the plans that they presented at the June meeting. And yeah, I think what was causing this, yeah, this is the house next door.
Exactly.
They basically they're going to the left, they're going up. And this is the floor plan. And the floor plan was a little confusing. I think they've got this interior light well. We couldn't quite understand what this was. This portion of the building. Let me zoom here.
It's a light well, because otherwise those rooms would not have windows.
Yeah. And so this walking in the front door, which is here, you walk in the front door and you walk into the first unit. And I should say, by the way, unlike a lot of Trinidad, these houses here don't have basements. There's just a kind of a crawl space beneath the buildings. And the developer is not applying to go down or underpin or anything like that. He's just keeping this 3 levels, first, second, and a new 3rd story. So
one question on that is, as you say, it doesn't really, it's just like a crawl space or something. Do the footings of the current building support a 3rd floor?
I don't know. I'm sure that they are doing their due diligence and digging a test pit. That's a building code issue. And
okay, I wasn't certain what that fell under, so that's why I was asking.
That is building code.
Okay,
we're here to talk zoning. So you walk in the unit, and looks like you immediately walk in. I think this is going to be this is a kitchen area here.
Yeah, that looks like a kitchen.
It's fairly compact. The powder room, living room. And then they've got 3 bedrooms back here. There's another full bath. And
the thing above there is the washer dryer, by the way, from the look of the icons. That little room opposite the kitchen.
Yeah, probably washer and mechanical room.
Yeah.
So that's probably a water heater here. And just what's kind of confusing us a little bit is this room here is also a bedroom. They're getting their fire egress from a window into this kind of courtyard here. So, and basically the other floors are all identical. When here in the 2nd floor, when you walk up the stairs, you come up here, and again, the plan's almost identical. And then the 3rd story again, all the stairwells here, again, identical plan. So basically, copy and paste on 3 stories. So let me stop the.
There's a back deck or something that goes downward, probably a spiral stair or something.
Yeah, it is not spiral. So these are the renderings they emailed us.
Okay, what does the back look like?
Okay, well,
so I saw a staircase in the plans.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to provide just settle on this so people can understand. So what they're proposing here is to extend the front. They're in keeping with the original brickwork in the front. I mean, shoot, they've even kept the same green color. Now, this is a side view of it. You can kind of see the light wells here that I was mentioning earlier for that first bedroom in each unit. And one of the issues we discussed last meeting is there is nothing preventing a future owner of this building from coming to their side. And now, by the way, I think there's a scale is off slightly here because this old building, that scale is off here, by the way, I can tell that. The old building went to about here. Let me just look myself at the street view. Yeah, the old building goes to about here. So the addition goes from here to here. And that's, I think the side yard is probably a little shorter than it's shown here. Maybe about 2 or 3 feet shorter. But a future owner of this house could have joined this, which
If
means
they do, then that light well no longer has an escape route.
yes, which means the fire egress actually would be technically would be a ladder system going up through here. So, and this is not a huge. This is just kind of a design.
I do not like that
here.
roof the way it looks.
Yeah, there are other. I got some.
No. What I don't like about it are the two sort of extended pieces, and the fact that they're reversed dormers rather than being positive dormers, they're negative. So they retreat into the building rather than extend out from it. Does it make sense?
So, yeah, I do. So we'll ask them, and you ask for a view.
There's the staircases. Okay, they're not a spiral. It's sort of Okay.
I believe DCRA has my understanding is, or I should say DOB, you're not allowed to do spirals 3 stories. So, and my guess is they're doing them out like this because if you did them zigzag, it would actually block a lot of it'd be a lot more visible for the windows. So, it does just mean that these 3 bedrooms, when they look out, they're just going to be seeing,
staircase,
metal work. But it is that's their decision. I mean, I'm surprised they don't put it in the middle of the building. Like, and as a matter of fact, this is something we could say to them. It's like, if you're going to do this, why don't you put it in the middle? Because you're kind of
because it looks like that they have a parking slab.
They're parking. That's just a deck. But anyway, that's a legitimate concern because I don't think if this neighbor decides to do something, they're shoving their access to the.
Yes.
Again, this is just a design critique. Like, if they just move this to the middle of the building, then it would perhaps not be as visible for both. They could even actually extend the windows over here and give both of these.
And it would match up with the staircase that's already there to go down to the ground.
Yeah.
But not only that, I'm looking at a safety issue because the steps can have access. You will still have access to the neighbor's windows. That looked like a safety.
Well, it's you're actually not entitled to privacy in DC.
Really?
And actually, you're not entitled to views. There is.
You're not entitled to be safe either.
I have in my home. I have a new building next to mine that goes 10 foot back, and they actually have the spiral staircase that goes up to the rooftop deck, right almost in this location. And it turns out if they're going up the spiral, they could look down into the back into the shower, the back of our house. So we just are always kind of cognizant. So we put up a privacy film on the window so you couldn't see through, But it is. But anyway, so I just wanted you to see this, these views. This is what they've proposed. And let me stop sharing here. I'm going to do something I don't typically do, but I'm going to. I think it's helpful for context. I'm going to bring up
that light well, in the possibility of someone bringing the yard closer. That light well definitely concerns me because if you had a person who was disabled in some way, they might be able to navigate a regular staircase, but they might not be able to navigate a ladder to the roof.
So,
you know what I'm getting at?
I do. Do you have time to? Do you know when ADA requirements come into buildings? I see lots of houses around here that have stairs that don't meet ADA. I think does that only come in when buildings and projects are above a certain density?
It may come in. It also affects newly built things, and based on what we're seeing, my betting is all they're going to have left is the front wall, part of it. So, and what worries me in particular is that light well arrangement. The back, you could come out on your deck and they'd be able to lift your balcony, and they'd be able to lift you off from that. Any self-respecting fire department. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I mean, very few of the houses built in Trinidad meet ADA in a sense for all their units. They may need it for the first floor, but you have people who break legs all the time. They might be able to hobble down a staircase. They won't be able to go up an and a ladder.
Yeah.
My question about this ADA compliance issue. Should we be making sure that the ADA compliant buildings are implemented moving forward?
We really should when it gets down to it. Because our population is getting older.
Yeah.
And 25% of the population of this country has some form of disability. 45% of the population of this country suffers from disability at some point in their life. And as our population ages, the list of disabilities is going to increase. Particularly eyesight, hearing, and infirmities more generally. And if DC has a policy of trying to keep people in their homes, which I know the mayor would like to do, those homes need to be accessible as someone ages. And there are ways to mask things. So, for example, having double doors instead of a single door for, say, a bedroom can mask it being wide enough for a wheelchair, rather than one of those huge doors that you see in hospitals. You can break that up into 2 doors, and it masks the fact that it will allow the width of a wheelchair to go in. But yes, those are things we probably should be thinking about, seriously thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Skip, I don't know if it sounds like a building code issue. So I don't know off the top of my head.
And I don't know either.
Zoning. Yeah.
It's something we can look into.
Could you look into that?
Sure, I will see what I can find on that.
Appreciate it. So
I know it's supposed to affect. It's definitely supposed to affect buildings at least at a certain size. I know that. I just don't know what size that starts at. But it's a good policy to make things as accessible as possible. Okay.
So look, what I want to do just for the folks at home is just kind of, so several years back, there was a BZA case for 1241 Morse, and I had done a shadow study because the owner who lived at 1239 had solar panels, and they wanted to understand. So now I haven't had time to do this properly, but this is effectively the makeup on that block. And what 1251 wants to do is they want to basically go back 15 feet. Actually, something I should have done first is this homeowner added a 10-foot addition in the last 2 years. So this homeowner has a 10-foot addition. They want to go 1251, the applicant's property. As a matter of right, they can go back. Well, first of all, let me give them they can go up a story. I forget how far they're going up. I'll just say 9 feet. That may not even be that much. As a matter of right, they're allowed, I shouldn't say that's a matter of right, but they can go to the side. I think they go to the side like 8 feet. And as a matter of right, they can go back to, they can go back 10 feet just to go back as far as this property. Then they can go back another 10 feet. And what they're requesting in this BZA case is to go back 15 feet, so another 5 feet. So that's what they are, I know this is really rough, but in context, you can see how this compares to adjoining properties. This is what they want to do. Now, this, if we judge it by itself, may be considered acceptable. And I will say, by the way, I think this house is vacant, and I believe the house on the 1253 is vacant. Some of these houses are vacant, so actually you're not even going to find homeowners or neighbors complaining. The neighbors here, though, they're very concerned because these houses are actually some of the oldest homes in Trinidad. I think they were built into the 1890s. But their neighbors here are concerned because this house is actually also up for sale. And what they're concerned about is now this house can match this. They can match this. They can go over, I think, 8 feet. And now they're allowed to go back as a matter of right, another 10 feet. that would be a matter of right development. So now this home, again, this is, let me just put a position the camera at somebody sitting on their back porch here. And now this is the point of view. Like, it's just a large building, you know, it's where it's just a lot for them. And I think that's what they're concerned about, is that whereas formerly, you know, like this addition now is almost as long as these houses originally are. And these houses are actually fairly long. I think they're like 47, 48 feet. So basically here, they went back 10, they went back 15 if it gets approved. And now
And it
they
would
can go
cut
back.
off their morning, it would cut off their morning sunlight.
Oh yeah. And by the way, I can quickly turn that on real quick. Let's turn on, shadows are on. Let me put on a date.
It would be the morning
Thing
sunlight.
here. So let's just put on today's date. 5/18. Sorry, today's 5/20, isn't it? And in the morning. So in the morning, this is, you know, this is 8 a.m. You know, and by the way, this neighbor does have solar panels, but I'm just doing this exercise really quickly. You can see, obviously, now I will say in fairness, most of your energy production is like, you know, between the hours of, let's say, 10 and like in the evening. So by 10 a.m., you know, they probably won't be shadowed. You know, and again, just to remind everybody, we're not talking, this BZA case is for 1251 Morse. It's for not for 1249. But I think it's reasonable to assume whatever precedent gets established at 1251 will most likely get followed by 1249. And so that's why the neighbors here at 1247 are extremely nervous. I will say once you get later in the daytime, you know, then obviously the sun is moving over. I think north.
It doesn't look like in winter.
Well, this is actually, well, I can give you winter, but this is about due north right now. Let me just give you, what's this? What's the?
Do Christmas Day. That's near the 21st would technically be the solstice. That'd be the shortest day of the year.
All right. Is that December 21st? All right.
December 21st, December 22nd. It varies a little bit, but
yeah. So here, you know, you can see the shadows. So here now the solar panels on 1247 would be in shade to 1038. Now, actually, you know what I didn't do UTC. I think I always forget that I might be off by an hour. What is currently, can you quickly
we're 5 hours from London
right now?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
They're in daylight savings and we're in daylight savings.
Let me check this real quick on my world clock. We're currently UTC
it is 1:24 in London right now, and it's 20:24 in DC.
So I think when daylight savings is off, it'll be UTC -5. So this is correct for the December, and so that's about what they'll see. And then, you know, honestly, by noon they're out of the shadow. And so this is something I need to communicate to them, that even, you know, but there will be some shading on their solar panels. Again, for a future project that we're not under discussion here at 1249. We go to March 31st, you know, now I think the clocks have sprung forward there.
They spring forward 1 week earlier than we do.
Got it. So I think we're at UTC -4 here. So you can see here 8:41.
But by the solstice, you'll be equal. UTC will be the same again. It'll be 5 hours in July, or I mean June. Yeah, June 20, 21.
Yeah, let's just go today's. I just want to go today's date. So today's
actually the 19th, or is it the 19th or is it the 20th?
Wait, today is the 18th.
Close enough. It's the
I have a funny
18th.
feeling.
Yes.
I might have said the 20th when this meeting started. But anyway, so we have, you know, this is what the adjoined property would see. And so honestly, like, I think their solar panels would be in the clear as of 9:40. I tell you, as somebody who, I have solar panels that are shaded every day. And think I need to do I need to look at what the ideal is, but my guess is I'm probably seeing a 30% impact. But my panels are shaded probably until 11 a.m. Mostly because, like in my example, my home is directly adjoined, and so having an 8-foot distance is very, very meaningful. And that kind of, there's a chance that actually, even if they did this, they might still be under the 5%. As a matter of right, you cannot significantly shade a solar panel system, and zoning defines significantly as 5% per annum over the course of the year. So basically, you have to use specialized solar software because it's not enough just to. I mean, here I can use a pretty picture.
Just a curious question: what happens if once they have done that, then 1247 decides to extend back out 10 feet further? Say 1247 extends its wall so it touches 1249.
I mean, they're not planning on doing that. They haven't told. I think they
No,
love their home.
but neither was 1249 for your purpose right now.
Oh, yeah,
right now it's only 1251.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that based on this logic, theoretically, somebody new buying 1247 could extend their building over so it abuts 1249.
Oh yeah,
Story, maybe 2, and extend it back another 10 feet.
Well, yes. I mean, 1245 is currently adjoined. If 1247, even if they adjoined here, they'd still be limited to 1245.
They would be. Okay.
Yeah. It's always so. And the reason why they could go back as much is because they're not adjoining a building, even though they're on the property line. There's no building here, So, ironically, if these guys really, I just thought of this, it's kind of evil, but like, if they were to quickly build a side addition and touch the property line, that would actually stop a future development 1249 from going back more than 10 feet. So that would be, but I don't think that's not their goal. Actually, the neighbors here, they are really concerned about preserving the architecture of this block and that repeating pattern of houses that where they've got this kind of pattern here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quickly just hit Control Z on everything because that's not what they want to do. So and just to get back to what this applicant is doing here is their plans is to, by doing their addition, that will allow them to actually get three-bedroom units. So it is something the ANC asks for, is to see family-sized units, and they are doing 3 family-sized units.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think one thing the neighbors have mentioned is like, is there a way they can not go to the side in exchange for building a large ADU in the back? So, I think we're going to reach out to them to see if that's something that would be,
My
right now
is it would not give enough space for those 2 bedrooms.
And again, I don't want to be, I'm not
there. My gut says that what would happen is if you didn't allow that, then the bedroom count would be reduced from 3 to 2.
Yeah, but there might be an economic right now. What they to do this addition, they basically will demo this building, leaving nothing except the original stonework in the front, all of the original floor joists, roof rafters. That's all gone. So they're basically building a whole brand new building from the ground. It'll be nothing, So it could be that by doing a building without doing the side addition, they could just do a 3rd story. They may only get 2 units in this building here, but it might be significantly cheaper construction. That's something for them to consider. And I think the neighbors are going to reach out to say, hey, if you were to put 2 units here and do a large ADU in the back, these particular blocks have very deep backyards.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that might be, maybe we can still get family-sized units, preserve the architecture, and maybe it's even better financially for the developer. I don't know.
Maybe.
But we're going to try. So they did. The developer does want to have. I'm just going to stop sharing the renderings here. The developer would like to have a separate meeting because they didn't meet tonight. They would like to have a special meeting with the neighbors. So I'm going to reach out to. Well, I did reach out to one of the neighbors today to let her know that we had these renders provided us by the developer. there was no change to design, but we have these renders. Because before we couldn't put the design into context. So we will reach out to them, and maybe I could just play some SketchUp exercises for them. We can reach out to the developer, the applicant, and be like, okay, is there something else? Is there a win-win here where you can make all the profit you want to make, provide family-sized housing, and still keep all the neighbors happy, and set a precedent here that can be followed? So that's the update for this case right now. There is no change to the plans. We received the clarification, with the 3D renders.
Speaking to it the way it looks now, if you look, you see the style, those row houses elsewhere in the city with 3 stories. They're similar. When they are in 3rd story, that is not a fully bricked story. They are dormered, kind of like what they're proposing. Except but the dormers are positive dormers, not negative dormers.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think it would look far better if they were positive dormers.
Yeah, I
and
don't know
they'd get
why
a little bit more interior space too.
Yeah, I don't know why they did this. Let me just show some quick examples. And actually, I had these examples prepared before the meeting of Firefox. I think this is where I have them. This is the tops of some recent homes in the neighborhood where they did. This is a house at intersection of Penn Street and West Virginia, just up the road in Trinidad, and you can see what they did here. 3rd story addition, absolutely beautiful. So you can do something and still have it look really nice and intentional.
Yeah, and you will have more space interior to that because the windows extend outward.
So it just seems that there's no need for this. I mean, I can see why they're doing it, because they are leaning in slightly. So the other way they're doing it, they're just going straight up. This is probably slightly more expensive construction, but I think it looks so much better.
It's a mansard, what they've done.
Yes. Here's another home down recently built, was a BZA case at the intersection of Neal and West Virginia. And by the way, that other project I just showed you was just down here a little bit, if my mouse is on the screen. And here in this house here, they actually did a side addition. You can kind of see the brick line, and they added a 3rd story, and you can see it's like almost a little more modern. And they even have a rooftop deck on top of here. Now, I will say the other project is not proposing a rooftop deck. So
on that house, I would say the shutters look just a tad bit odd too, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. Why don't the shutters go down? Why are the shutters not as tall as the windows? That makes no sense.
Why they even have shutters is a better question. But anyway.
This in general, I think this looks really nice. I think the developers did a fantastic job here. As opposed to, let me just stop the share again. These are small, minor things we can request them to fix. Is to, it's such a small fix. They just need to lean this back a little bit here. But the main issue here is, though, the neighbors don't want to see this precedent. But at the end of the day, they're not asking for, the zoning relief they're asking for is, I believe it's 2 or 3 matters of zoning relief. Let me just quickly check the case record. I know one is for, let me quickly bring up the, one is because they wanted 3 units, and you need 3. Matter of right is 2 units. They do need some relief because they have an existing side yard. So they have an existing conforming side yard, and as a matter of right, you can't just get rid of that. So that's one piece of, there's also, I think, an architectural element that they're kind of disturbing a little bit. The main things really are they're going back 15 feet instead of 10 feet. They want 3 units, and there are actually, let me show. You guys see
units? You mean bedrooms, or they will be apartment units inside the building?
They're condos. I think these are condos. Let me quickly share the screen here. This is from the case record here. So the special exceptions is E203.1 There's the rear additions. That's the 10-foot. The rooftop and upper floor additions of 206.1. This is the side yard. Matter of right. I don't know these on the top of my head, but it sounds like a lot. But to be honest, this is all relatively. I believe the BZA would consider these relatively minor, but again, it is disturbing. It is, we're not protecting historic neighborhood. So there's no historic preservation. They can do these changes to protect, to disrupt the existing character and scale of that block. That's really what the neighbors can rely upon. My hope is that the neighbors can come up with a solution that the developers are very happy with as well. So anyway, I want to be respectful of folks' time. That's the only update I have here. I'm going to stop. And I know, Commissioner, you had mentioned you had something you wanted to bring up.
Hold on. I just put it in the chat.
Great.
Office of Planning is having a lot of community engagement meetings concerning the New York Avenue corridor. As we know, this is part of Mayor Bowser's plan to develop additional housing, over 30,000 new units, and majority of them are going on New York Avenue. So the publicinput.com is where the survey is. You can add to the survey, answer the questions, and attend the community meetings.
So it is both sides of New York Avenue. That answers the question.
Great. So it's basically Ivy City, it's Brentwood, it's Langdon. So there's quite an area there.
And a little, and the edge of Union Market. So look, Langdon, Brentwood, Ivy City, and the edge of the Union Market.
So this will be our opportunity to start from scratch with green space, with the size of the units, where the buildings are going to be, how they're going to look, what kind of retail is going to be they're talking about retail on the first floor and building up. So we have input in all of that, and we need everyone to get on the survey, put your ideas, suggestions, advice, and attend the meetings. Once you give them your email address, then you will continue to get updates on the meetings.
Yeah.
This Saturday, there will be an Office of Planning meeting at the Cromell School, 1900 Gallaudet Street, Northeast in Ivy City, and they will be there between 10 and 12.
Is that meeting listed here in their website?
Now. It's hard kind of navigating in this website.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you now. So it should be in here somewhere, but yeah, the meeting is.
A quick question for you, Commissioner.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. So here's, wait, that was yesterday. Okay. And then this Saturday is the next. Okay. And by the way, that I should point out, I noticed that public input, they're accepting this first round through May 24th, and that last website I was on. So there's 15-minute survey they're asking for. I think there was a
there's a deadline.
There's a deadline.
Who is supposed to take that survey? That's what I'm curious about.
And everyone can take the survey.
Everyone. Okay. I wasn't certain if it was only the people who lived in the red area, or if it was everyone, like in our entire, like Carver, Langston, and Trinidad, etc.
We want everybody to be part of this.
Okay.
Commissioner, are you sharing this? I know a lot of commissioners have mailing lists. Are you pushing this as much because of the deadline? I mean, honestly, I wasn't aware of this myself, and I'm probably gonna maybe this weekend. I'm gonna put a calendar reminder. This weekend, I'm gonna fill out this as well, just to get my voice heard here.
It's on our calendar.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's on our calendar, and I've been, mentioning it in our ANC meetings. I wasn't available for the last meeting that we had, but in June, because that'll be our last meeting before we go on recess. But
there's all kinds of documents and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information on this website. So let me get, how do they get to this website? Is the first thing is publicinput.com. What's the /W1637 number 2? I'm not sure. Can you see that on the screen?
Hey, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's how we got here. Okay.
Or
Okay,
go on the
cool.
Office of Planning's website, and it should be there in the Office of Planning website. So this would be our opportunity to help develop New York Avenue. And also we are working on our small area plan here in Ivy City. So we're working with 2 different agencies in the Office of Planning. So it's the New York Avenue Vision Framework Agency, and then it's the agency with the small area plan. So right now we're getting ready to start our community, what is it? Community life. It's the life experience or something like that, where you watch folks cross the street, how they maneuvering through the community, and suggestions on what, do we need more crosswalks? Do we need more stop signs? Do we need more parking? Do we need more bike lanes? All of this is going to be taken into effect.
One thing I can say for certain is they need to slow the traffic down.
We definitely do, especially on Oakey Street and Fenwick Street here in Ivy City.
I mean, it's one thing up on the area right around Costco. But once you hit the upper edge of the Arboretum, that is 45 from Bladensburg eastward. It's 45. It's supposed to be 25 the other side of it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're doing 60 or 70.
Yeah.
And that is simply unsafe.
10 over the speed limit. So yeah, those suggestions like that, Skip, is what we need in this vision framework, because they're going to have to slow the traffic down going up and down New York Avenue.
I'm trying to remember, is there a divide in New York Avenue?
There is.
Does it run the full length? When I say divide, I mean.
Oh, actually, no.
Planter.
Sorry. I'm wrong. No, there's not. It's actually
coming off the Parkway,
coming
off the highway.
That would be one way to help slow traffic down. Would be a big divide up the center of the road where they could plant trees and things, which also would have the advantage of cooling down Ivy City and whatnot.
Well, we already suggested all of that. We want tree canopies on both sides of New York Avenue. We want that triangle right there at Montana where the nursery used to be. You
mean the circle?
The circle, triangle, it's a death trap, and they need to either rid that away.
They need to actually return it to a full-fledged circle that functions like a circle. Because that would also slow traffic down, and it would actually serve a good purpose of indicating your speed should be slower from here forward.
Well, if you're a lead or speed demon, then that's not going to help.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is there's a circle used as an actual circle, in roundabout.
That would slow the traffic down.
Yeah, but
remove New York Avenue cutting through the center of it.
Well, yeah, just keep in mind, I've been sharing the screen for the past couple of seconds here, just showing, New York Ave is a major thoroughfare into the city. Yeah. It's basically a highway.
It is.
DDOT, they have their own, they will have their own ideas.
It's a federal highway, I know that. It doesn't change the fact it's going through the city, and Bladensburg is what's up on the upper edge there right now. And what I'm trying to get at is from Bladensburg westward, it should be a lot slower. And from the circle west, it definitively becomes much more residential. In between, you have hotels and things and service stations and whatnot. But from that circle westward, you have more hotels. You're coming into Ivy City and Union Market and everything, which are becoming much more residential.
Well, what we suggest is, Skip, feel free to put all of that. You can do it multiple times. We're going to be checking into these warehouses that are all of the industrial land, the urban heat island, the lack of green space, the speeding traffic, the whole corridor, and the communities on both sides. So,
well, they need a lot more trees all over the place, honestly.
Yeah, and we need the right type of tree, right? So I'm advocating for trees. I'm advocating for trees, and we want them at least halfway grown when they plant them. We don't want the seeds. We want them halfway grown. So at least in 5 years, we'll have a full-blown tree. So, yeah.
And New York Avenue also serves, maybe not quite in that stretch, but closer to the Arboretum, it serves as the main gateway to the city.
Exactly. And we wanted to
look nicer in general, all the way up to, where the Costco is.
Yeah. That's my point exactly. We wanted to look welcoming as you come in. You don't want it called New City, because that's what it's called now. We want to change that name. That New City.
Called what?
New City.
New City.
New City. New City code is disconnected. It don't sound.
This may sound really weird, but when I was younger, I lived in Europe. One of the things I remember coming from Zaventem, which is the airport for Brussels, is once you cross the actual city line into Brussels, along the main avenue, I forgot the name of it now. The center was lined with tulips and flowers and trees.
Oh.
And so were the sides. It was absolutely gorgeous. And they actually had pillars marking the entrance to the city, which at one time had been an outer fortification. But they had these pillars that actually demarcated the city of Brussels from what was beyond it. And it was a very industrialist-y road to a certain extent beyond that. But as soon as you entered the city, the center became lush with flowers and trees, and both sides did as well. And it went straight toward the center that way. And it was still a 2-lane road in each direction, but it had lost a lane, and it became that center bit. And the other thing in Brussels was they had stations in that center because the trolleys went up and down on either side of it.
Right.
But the impression you got is, oh, I've entered the capital.
Right.
And we're just
those are the memories that we want for New York Avenue to hold in folks' heads. When they come in New York Avenue, when they come into the city, we want them to see beauty, not in industrial.
I mean, you get, when you come across Memorial Bridge, you get the impression of entering a magnificent city. And that really should be the way it is for every portal into the city. Connecticut Avenue is somewhat like that. Wisconsin, Massachusetts, certainly. That Westmoreland Circle.
By the way,
yeah,
we do have to wrap up. So I'm just giving.
I will make my comments.
Giving 5 minutes. No, I'm just saying I'll give you 5 minutes to wrap up. I just want to say we still do want to resume.
It's fine to wrap. I'm just mentioning that, that's what I remember from Brussels as a kid, and other cities are somewhat like that. And I really would like to see DC up its game in that regard.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to put the information in the chat. Hopefully it'll reach out to more folks so that we can have more public input on this New York Avenue Vision frameworks.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that link you said was https / publicinput.com / New York Ave draft Rex survey.
Yeah, I'm glad
It's publicinput.com/new New York Ave, NY Ave draft Rex survey. And that should get us to the
Yep.
link.
I'm glad you said that you want others people, because when they made the presentation to the ANC, I thought it was only intended for people for Ivy City and I guess Brentwood. So I had not even gone to look at the site because I did not realize it was intended for everyone who actually lived in the area, not just in that one narrow.
Well, you can call the number and talk to Office of Planning to get clarity. But
I'm perfectly happy to put in my comments because I have quite a few in them.
well, do your thing, Skip.
I really want to see things improve.
Yes, we all do. We all do. And we appreciate everyone's comments. So, but thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let everybody return to your evenings here. Really appreciate, getting this information out there. Thank you so much, Commissioner. And again, I'm going to reach out to Commissioner Roblin to set up a special meeting sometime the next week or two to help the neighbors speak with the developers.
Right.
For 1251 Moors. 1251 Moors. All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a